Good morning students. In the last lecture we derived equation for the capillary rise and capillary fall, and till we discuss about the fluid which is at rest. But today we are going to discuss a very important topic in this chapter, which is nothing but the fluid in motion. The water flowing through the river or the water flowing through the tap, these are the examples of fluid in motion. The branch of physics which deals with the study of the properties of the fluid which are in motion, it is called as a hydrodynamics. So, what is hydrodynamics? Hydrodynamics is the branch of physics which deals with the study of the fluid in motion. Now, we in the day-to-day life see the various examples of hydrodynamics, fluid in motion, as we already stated. Now, we are going to some terms which are included in this hydrodynamics. The first term included is the steady flow. What do you mean by steady flow? Steady flow means the pressure or velocity at a point remains constant when a fluid is in motion. Then at a given point, if the pressure or velocity of the particle remains constant for an interval of time, then such type of flow is called as a steady flow. Okay, now the second term, it is a flow line. Second term is a flow line. What is flow line? If we consider a single particle during the motion of the fluid, if we consider a single particle, then the path of the individual particle during the motion of this fluid, such path is called as the flow line. What is flow line? Flow line is a path followed by the individual particle during the motion of the fluid. It is called as a flow line. Then, what is streamline? Streamline means a curve whose tangent is in the direction of velocity of the particle at given point. Now, what is the velocity? The velocity of the particle changes every time. The curve whose tangent is in the direction of velocity of the particle, in which direction it is flowing, it is called as a streamline flow. We can say that the streamline flow, the velocity vector and tangent, they are in the same direction. This is called as a streamline flow. The next term, it is called as a flow tube. What is flow tube? Flow tube is an imaginary cylinder by flow lines, made up of number of flow lines having imaginary walls. So, what is flow tube? Flow tube is an imaginary cylinder. It is not a perfect cylinder, but it is an imaginary cylinder which is formed by the flow lines, number of flow lines. The property of flow line and property of flow tube are same. The number of flow lines which constitute this flow tube, these flow lines are in the same direction, and we can say that the flow lines, the walls of the flow lines, flow tube, the liquid cannot cross the wall of the flow tube. And we can also say that the liquid inside this flow tube does not mix with the adjacent flow tube. So, this is the terms which are related with the hydrodynamics. Now, the next term is streamline flow. What is streamline flow? In a streamline flow, if the velocity or the pressure at a particular point remains constant and in which one layer of the liquid flows smoothly over the other layer, then such type of flow is called as a streamline flow. As we know, any fluid, any liquid is flow in the terms of layers. It is not continuous, but it is flow in the terms of layers one over another. And when such type of liquid flow, then one layer is smoothly moving other on the other layer, then such type of flow is called as a streamline. We also say that this streamline flow, the velocity of the particles in the streamline flow, they lies under a critical velocity, so that the layer can smoothly move over each other. For example, a water flowing through a river, it is the example of the streamline flow. The next topic, next term is the turbulent flow. What is turbulent flow? It is exactly the opposite case of streamline flow. In streamline flow, one layer moves smoothly over the other layer. In the turbulent flow, the velocity of the particle at a given point changes continuously and having the velocity greater than certain critical velocity. Such type of flow is called as a turbulent flow. For example, in a flooded river, the velocity of the particle changes continuously and they are not moving smoothly one over another. Such type of flow is called as a turbulent flow. So we see here some terms which are related with the hydrodynamics. What is steady flow? The steady flow in which the pressure or velocity which can be measured if remains constant at a given point, such flow is called as a steady flow. What is flow line? Flow line is a line, imaginary path followed by a single particle during the motion of the fluid. What is streamline? Streamline is nothing but a curve whose tangent is in the direction of velocity of the particle. Such flow is called as a streamline. Then what is flow tube? Flow tube is an imaginary cylinder formed by the number of flow lines. The property of flow line and flow tube, they are exactly the same. What flow tube? Flow tube means it has a cylinder having walls on the both sides. The liquid inside the flow tube does not cross this layer wall, and the liquid inside one flow tube does not mix with the liquid in the adjacent flow tube. Then what is streamline flow? Streamline flow means in which the layer of the liquid, layer of the fluid flow exactly one over another. Such type of flow is called as a streamline flow. And the velocity of the particle in the streamline flow lies below the critical velocity which is responsible for the change of the flow. Now the next term is nothing but a turbulent flow. What is turbulent? Turbulent flow means when the layers are not moving smoothly but the velocity at a particular point changes continuously beyond a certain critical velocity, it is called as the turbulent flow. The flooded river is the example of this turbulent flow. Now we are going towards how we can determine the flow is either streamline or either is a turbulent flow. This can be determined on a very simple number which is called as a Reynolds number. But before that, we are going to see what is the critical velocity. Critical velocity means the velocity which determine the flow is either streamline or turbulent. If the value of the critical velocity is less, then we can say that it is a streamline flow, and if the value is greater, we can say that the flow is a streamline flow. Now, how we can define this critical velocity? Critical velocity is a boundary between the streamline flow and turbulent flow. Means on the either side it is streamline flow, on the other side it is a turbulent flow, then the boundary between these two flow is called as a critical velocity. And this critical velocity, the equation of the critical velocity is given by scientist Reynolds, which is equal to this Vc is equal to this Rn eta divided by rho multiplied by. Now, what is this? This Vc is the critical velocity. This Rn, it is the Reynolds number. This rho is the density of fluid, and this d is the diameter of the tube through which this liquid is flowing. Now, this is the example for critical velocity. Now, from this equation we can derive a relation for the Reynolds number. This Rn is equal to Vc into rho into d divided by eta. Now, what is eta? Eta is the viscosity of the fluid. Okay. Now, how we can determine the flow either is streamline or turbulent? It is depend upon the Reynolds number. If this Reynolds number Rn is less than 1000, if it is less than 1000, then we can say that the flow is a streamline flow. And if the value of this Reynolds number is greater than 2000, if it is greater than 2000, then such type of flow is called as a turbulent flow. But what happens between 1000 and 2000? Between 1000 and 2000, if the value of Rn is greater than 1000 but it is less than 2000, then the streamline flow is being converted into the turbulent flow. The transformation from streamline flow to the turbulent flow takes place during this 1000 and 2000. Here we discuss about the fluids in motion, the terms related with the hydrodynamics, and we also derive a relation for the Reynolds number. In the next topic, we discuss about the very important property of the fluid in motion, which is nothing but the viscosity. This is for today. Have a good day. Thank you.